I'm going to start off this video by saying I didn't know if I was going to make this video. Simply because I don't want to add any more hate, I don't want to add any more negativity, but I also don't want to say the wrong things. I have my own opinions on police brutality, racism, obviously. I have my own thought on Black Lives Matter, the left, the right, who've been, as always, politicizing this, and the YouTubers have been talking about it, not just the political ones, the political commentary ones, but also YouTubers like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. I have opinions on everything. And when I usually make videos on, or always try to talk to others about big things that have been going on in the world, I try to wait till everything tends to unfold so I can get an overview of everything and not just make quick, sweeping judgments. With that being said, when I first heard about this case, as always, I tend to be skeptic. I don't tend to just believe racism, police brutality, murder. I always try to look deep into it. However, after looking into this case and seeing the multiple of videos, camera screenshots, and articles, I am definitely confident to say that this is a case that was, you can say, police brutality, that this was, I wouldn't say an accident. At least I would, at most I would say manslaughter, but this was definitely not, this was preventable. This was definitely preventable. And I do believe that this officer should be charged. I think the officers that were there should all be charged. I think justice should be served. I think a trial needs to happen because this could have been preventable. And so far, what we've been hearing, from what I've read, from what been in the security cameras, in the footages, and the screenshots, that there was no sign that he was physically resisting to the extent that the officers were first reported on. From the screenshots, it shows him that he was collapsing, that he might have been under the influence, and that he had a medical condition that could have actually contributed to his death, along with the officer placing his knee on his neck. And of course, everyone's been having their own responses. As I said, a bunch of famous YouTubers have made their own thoughts on it, and there is the right talking mainly about the rioters and the people defending them, and the left talking about Black Lives Matter, and it was race, based on the guy being, George being black, and it was racist. And I know when it comes to cases like this, people usually don't agree with what I say, but I'm still going to say it. I don't believe this case was based on racism. I think it is a case of police brutality. There has been no signs nor evidence to equal that this man did it because George was black, and there's no evidence that it was racist. Because I also believe, now I don't know for sure, but I've also heard that some of the other cops that were on the scene weren't, I guess you can say, white. I don't know if that for sure, but that's what I have heard. So I'm not saying that's true. That's just what I've heard. And if it is true, then it just equals to more to the point that it isn't just the typical white cop kills black guy, as the media likes to label. Because I've always told myself, the media is not our friend. The media has never been our friend. It's all for clicks, views, and money. That's all they care about. They don't care that the riots are happening, or that I would say I don't think they care that George Floyd died the way he did. They just don't care. It's all about the money. Because if they really did care about Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't be showing the riots, because the riot is what makes the Black Lives Matter have a bad image. You're not showing them fighting in the name of George Floyd. You're showing them being criminals, stealing, looting, fighting each other. And in some cases, you're showing them being racist because now people are putting signs that this is owned by a black guy, like this is black people own business on their buildings, which is obviously showing that these black people are being a little racist. So this shows that, that the media is kind of showing this. If they really did care, they would be showing that the black people community coming together, the people that's been protesting against this, that's been trying to raise awareness and trying to make sure what happened to George never happens again. And that's how I know the media has always just been a fake. It's always been a face. And, I'm very careful with what I read and what I trust when it comes to a media site, because I know it's all about the money. They're highlighting this case because they know that's what people want to hear. They're highlighting the riots because they know that's what people want to see. It's what people most invested in. Because police brutality happens to anyone. Police brutality isn't about racism. Police brutality is about abuse of power. That's what it's always been. But the media wants to show it as it's all about a white cop killing a black man, which that is not. Because a lot of people has been saying, well, if George Floyd was white, would this be on the media? If George Floyd was white, would people be calling this racist? Well, no, of course not, because the media doesn't want to highlight this. They can't make a story out of that. They have to make a story out of this, and it's completely ridiculous, and it's completely stupid. The minute you go into a store and loot, steal, and assault other people, police officers, white people, even black people, you no longer care for this guy's death. You cannot convince me you cared about him. You cannot convince me that you're doing this for him. You cannot convince me that you care that Black Lives Matter. And that goes for all races. I think it's even worse if you're a white person involved in the riots, because now you're just a fake yourself. You cannot convince me otherwise. Because, I'm pretty sure that this is not what the family wants. This is not what should be done. Because you're not fixing anything. You're just adding more to the hate and then just giving all black people a worse image than before. You should be showing yourselves as the fighters, the protectors, show yourself that, no, we're not going to be tamed. Not as we're just going to riot and take things and burn down buildings for our points to be made. And with that being said, the right, who's been very focusing on the riot, as long as the media, I think it's also stupid. I don't, like, as I said, that shouldn't be the focus. I don't think the riot should be the main focus. Yes, it's bad. Yes, it shouldn't be happening. Yes, it should be stopped. But I don't think it should be publicized as much as it's been. Because then you're just giving them what they want, the attention, the publicity. What should be the focus is the case itself. As for the left, highlighting this as all Black Lives Matter, people saying this is all about races, I also think it's not helping either. Simply because so far there hasn't been any evidence to indicate that racism was a motive. If anything, this is just a case of police brutality. Once again, it's not about racism. Police brutality is abuse of power. It can happen to anyone despite race, color, gender, sexuality, anything. It has nothing to do with racism. Yes, it could be a contributor. Yes, it can be a factor, but it's not just the main definition of police brutality. It's abuse of power. Easy as that. And I believe that's what the case was. If you see the video and hear them carefully, people are telling him what to do. They're telling the cop that he's unresponsive. They need to get up. He needs to back away, put him in the car. And the officer obviously doesn't want to listen to them because he's like, I'm above all of you guys. You guys can't stop me. I can do whatever I want to you guys because I'm, in this case, as cliche as it sounds, the law. I believe it just was a case of showing authority, trying to be high and mighty and abuse his power. And whether his intent was to kill the man or not, at this point, shouldn't matter, because at this point, a man's dead. Whatever he thought, whether it was intentional or not, a man's dead. He has to leave behind his friends, his girlfriend, his daughter, his family. The guy's dead. And that's just the cold hard fact. And despite the riots, despite what people's been saying, it can't change it. It can't. So for people just to keep on this negativity and this violence, it's like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to prove? Nothing. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. And to the people that are only focusing on the riots, it's like, we all fight. We all try to be like, we're going to fix this problem. This is what's happening. This is what's wrong. Oh, it's all about, it's all about racism. No, it's all about, look at these people, they're rioting. They're no better. All cops are good. We all know that. And it's like, it's irrelevant. Like, everything that's been going on, it's just like completely been crazy. And it's like, we try to fight, to build a case for our agenda, to pick a side, to try to do wrong and right. And it's like, we end up forgetting why we were choosing a side to begin with. Which is why I've always tried to be neutral. I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to gain anything. What I'm trying to do is find the truth. What I'm trying to do is find what happened, why it happened, how it could have been prevented, and how to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's what should be the focus. It should be focusing on getting justice for George Floyd. It should be an investigation to find out why this happened. And if racism was behind this, if it really was, then yes, show that racism is bad. Yes, show that these things do exist. It is a minority. Overall, I do believe that cops are good. I know that. But that's besides the point. The point isn't whether all cops are good or if they're bad. The point is if there are bad cops. And if there are, how do we get rid of them? How do we stop them? How do we make sure that these things don't happen? Because once again, police brutality can happen to anyone. It's not, it doesn't just only affect black people. And the saying that, black people can't be racist is just fucking stupid. Because, one, that's not true. And two, it's not helping. You're just giving them more of an armor or a shield, a defense to hide behind. It's completely irrelevant. It's completely stupid. And it's honestly frustrating. I know that I did mention that Markiplier and Jacksepticeye talked about this. I might make another video on what I think about that. I just don't want to talk about it in this one because that's not the focus of this video. It's just a quick view of what I think of how everything's been happening. And it's crazy. And I know some people are like, this doesn't affect me, I'm not going to care about it. And then other people is like, well, we should focus on this because it affects everyone. And what I think to that is that it does affect everyone. Maybe not in the way that the media or the right, the left wants to show it, but it does affect everyone in a way. I didn't think this was going to affect me more than just someone reading it on the news, but so happened at my Walmart, and I don't live in the state, I don't live in the city, I don't live near where this happened. My Walmart was nearly broken into 2 nights ago by rioters. And we had to close down yesterday and today early and barricade the doors and have higher security and, basically start a system and everything because of this. So it did affect me in some way. And to that, it shows that this is everyone's problem in some way. And I hate that this happened. I hate how everything is happening, and I hate the response and the reaction of everything. Because the main focus should be about George Floyd and how to get justice. And that's it. I honestly don't even know if I'm going to post this or not. I feel like I've just been repeating myself, which would probably prove a point in saying something to the media and everyone else. I will admit that the video is something that doesn't go away. I've seen it, and I've seen multiple videos, and it is a shame. It is heartbreaking. It's disgusting that this officer did this. It is disgusting that he was able to have 17 complaints on his record and still work under and still be an officer. It is a shame that despite looking at him, knowing very well that he was being unresponsive, that he refused to get up, that he refused to check his pulse, that he refused to see if he was breathing. Even if there was some type of resist, you are no longer resisting when you're unresponsive. And honestly, that should be the main focus, the truth, and why this had to happen. Well, thank you for watching. This was very unscripted. This was just fresh thoughts out of my mind. And I will talk to you later. Till next time.